Today I'm making my own version of everybody's favorite witch. I'm taking the standard artillery witch model from Trench Crusade and digitally kitbashing it into my own spicy take. I eventually go on to 3D printing this model and painting it up for display. My name is Adib. I've been professionally making models for over 15 years. So if you like this kind of content, slap that subscribe button, why don't you? I do most of my sculpting in ZBrush, so I've created a basic mannequin and blocked out the composition the way I wanted it. I then imported the artillery witch model and then posed it according to the composition and pose that I have set. This also includes importing some of the official terrain models to create the base for this miniature. I then went on to manually fix the areas that were damaged due to this reposing, and as you can see in the design, I've added a grinning face as part of this model. This is visible as the mask is damaged, which I thought would be an interesting take compared to all the other digital kit bashes and other designs available. For 3D printing, I usually use a software called Chitubox where I set up the model and supports for printing. Speaking of which, thanks to Siraya for sponsoring this video. They provided the resins for this miniature and I used the navy blue resin for this print. If you're into 3D printing, make sure to check out all the range of resins available. The links are as usual in the description. I started out with the Zenithal Primer technique here, which is basically applying a black primer on the model and then using a lighter or white color primer over that black color to create a sense of light casting from the top. This is a common technique used by miniature painters, which allows you to set the lighting of the model from different angles. I then proceed to adding base colors over the model, but before I do that, as usual, make sure you have your references ready. As you can see in Photoshop, I like to gather all my references, and this also allows me to do some color tests. This means that I'm checking what color combinations may or may not work for the model based on the references I've gathered. Once I was happy with the color combination, I then go on to start painting the miniature. As you'll notice in the final model, the colors are a little bit more muted on the dress, but this is intentional because I wanted the gold trimmings on the dress itself to stand out. The colors application are a bit different from what I have shown previously. In this case, I've added multiple layers of thin colors, which are applied layer over layer to build up the paint. In the case of the gold trimmings, I started with a base yellow color, but then start adding lighter colors in layers to highlight the certain areas to create the gold metallic effect. The same goes for other parts of the model where again colors are applied in layers and slowly built up according to how the final result should be. I like to use a secondary color to blend the highlights and shadows, meaning I don't use the same color which is the lighter and the darker version, but instead I use another color that creates the transition between this light and dark. This allows for a more interesting transition than just a simple gradient. For the base of the model, I usually use dry brushing techniques, but in this case, I also had to paint in details like the roof tiles of the architecture and the bricks on the side. And you will also notice my usual coffee grounds on the base to add some details and rubble onto it. This time I didn't forget to capture some footage of painting the face.
Wow, well done, idiot. You want a reward?
I added a base flesh color and then started adding multiple layers of lighter flesh tones over it, and then also creating a more interesting transition by adding a pink color in between. So one of the tips you can take away from this is that the face or the skin tones are not just the flesh color. They have multiple layers, and if you observe the human skin, you will see that there's multiple colors involved with slight tints of green, blue, and pink. But of course, it's not in every part of the human skin. It has to be based on references and which part of the body you are painting. The artillery she's hurling towards the enemy doesn't make much sense to have exhaust fumes coming out from the back, but I kept it anyway in order to make it more dynamic. It was a stylistic choice, which I was not 100% sure, but I think it worked out. And the fumes were obviously painted using yellow, oranges, and red. If you want to see a more detailed step-by-step of how I paint flames, do check out this video on the top left. This project was a newfound fandom for me because I became a fan of Trench Crusade recently. It's a very interesting world and a lot of characters that are very unique in design. It's ever growing in popularity and a big fan base who like to be very creative. And I even interviewed the creator Mike Francina on the channel, so make sure you check that out. But wait right there. Finish watching this before you go to the other videos. Bastard. If you'd like me to create more Trench Crusade content, let me know in the comments below which character you'd like me to do next. And here she is, all done up. Hey there folks, it's been a year since I've been on YouTube. I wanted to thank every single one of you for actually viewing, liking, subscribing onto my videos. I really appreciate all the feedback and support that you've given me over the past year. In case you didn't know, I'm launching my own miniature series in the coming months. It's a 75mm scale miniature. It's an original design and universe that I've created. As you can see, the concept of this miniature is a kunoichi summoning a tengu. Obviously this is a Japanese culture based, but the series is actually a globe-trotting concept where you have warriors from all different cultures and regions who are able to summon their local folklore creatures to aid them in battle. I'm also giving away a copy of this miniature during the launch, and if you want to be one of the lucky few to own this limited edition miniature, make sure you sign up on the waitlist that's in the same link in the description below. I'll see you there. What are you waiting for? Slap the shit out of that button!